Welcome, and thank you for joining us for a presentation on the Workers' Compensation Board's eCase access. We're excited to share with you what we know will be a useful resource and tool in the day-to-day management of workers' compensation claims of state employees. eCase is a Workers' Compensation Board claim management program and database that allows parties of interest to electronically access documents specific to an individual workers' compensation claim. Only registered, authorized parties of interest have access to documents related to their own cases. eCase can be used as a tool for you in managing employee workers' compensation cases as employers or human resources professionals. It's currently used by parties of interest in managing and processing workers' compensation claims. Please note that case documents cannot be altered or removed by users. Also, we're excited to tell you that in 2022, eCase will be replaced by a new, improved claim system. We'll share more information about that later in the presentation. Of course, as an employer, you are considered a party of interest to any workers' compensation claim which occurs during the course of employment at your agency. Currently, these parties of interest can sign up through the board's website for access. Claimants and injured workers, attorneys, licensed representatives, insurance carriers, third-party administrators, and employers, including New York State agencies. As a state agency, you will now have direct access to eCase right at your fingertips. Within eCase, you will find any documentation related to the injured employee's workers' compensation claim, including, but not limited to, medical documentation related to the employee's claim, board notices sent to parties of interest, board decisions, and forms submitted by any parties of interest, including your agency and the New York State Insurance Fund, NYSIF, as the insurance carrier. So why eCase? Well, eCase serves as an effective and efficient claim management system with a timely review of claim status and communication. It assists employers with employees returning to work and assists in identifying anomalies and/or the need to controvert a claim. As noted before, this will be a critical tool in managing claims as you will have prompt access to documents. Typically, it takes 2 to 3 days for documents to get through the scanning vendor in order to be placed in the database. eCase information is confidential and cannot be shared. Pursuant to Section 110A of the Workers' Compensation Law, no individually identifiable claimant information is to be disclosed, released, distributed, or published by any employee of the board or by any person in possession of the records, except in very limited circumstances. Training is currently available via the Statewide Learning Management System website under the class called Section 110A Confidentiality, WCB-SEC-0121. HR directors are responsible for determining and monitoring who needs training. We'll share more details on that later in the presentation. Each individual agency determines which individuals should have access to eCase. The first step in obtaining access to eCase is the filing of a workers' compensation claim. First, an employee calls the ARS, the Accident Reporting System, or files a claim. New York State agencies then file the first report of injury, Form FROI 00, previously Form C2, through ARS or through the State Insurance Fund's online eFROI system. 2 business days after the Form FROI 00 is sent, the agency will have access to the case file if a board case number is available. Main office users have access to their agency cases based on a 5-digit department ID number received on the FROI 00. Main office users include central office directors and human resource managers, among others. For example, statewide HR directors should have access to all of their facilities' claims. Users will only have access to their agencies' or facilities' files or information. Each state agency must determine who the authorized users within their respective HR teams will be. For instance, who on your team is handling the day-to-day management of workers' compensation claims? The Business Service Center, BSC, will have access to cases for agencies they service for workers' compensation. eCase will provide employers with a way of reviewing the current status of claims, including the status at the board, an explanation of what the claimant is being paid in benefits. It'll let them know if the claim has been controverted, let them know if and when an employee may return to work, if the board has classified an employee's injury as permanent, and if there are restrictions upon an employee's return to work. Employers would be able to view medical reports that may have a return-to-work date and any work restrictions in order to assist in planning for the employee's return and/or potential staffing needs. It will also allow employers to determine if a pre-hearing conference or hearing is scheduled, review decisions made by a workers' compensation law judge or conciliator, and depending on the decision rendered by the law judge, you can determine whether or not the employee is entitled to their contractual workers' compensation benefit. And review the Notice of Controversy, Form Schroy 04 from NYSEF. Based on NYSEF's Notice of Controversy, you can determine if the employee is in the correct payroll status. Generally, Form C11, the employee's change in employment status resulting from injury, and the Claim for Reimbursement of Wages Paid to State Employee, Form C-256.2, should be completed when the employee returns to work from a period of absence due to the work-related disability. Form C-11 should also be completed if the employee takes a subsequent period of leave related to the accident. For extended absences, even if the employee has not yet returned to work, Form C-11 must be completed prior to the first board determination or award of compensation. Agency personnel administrators should complete the C-11 and the C-256.2 within 10 days of the board's request and/or an employee's return to work. Knowing the medical status of the employee is important for planning the facility's staffing needs. Within eCase, you can review the employee's medical documentation. This includes forms indicating the treatment authorized for the injured employee, the results of any X-rays or MRIs conducted, or if any surgery will be required. Additionally, within eCase, you will find the physician's medical narrative reports. These will document the degree of disability of the employee. As you know, if the employee is deemed 50% or less disabled, they may be eligible for limited or alternate duty. You can also learn the extent of an employee's permanent disabilities. You will also find the Claimant's Notice of Independent Medical Examination, the IME-5, and the Report of Independent Medical Examination, the IME-4. The IME-5 will provide the date and time of a scheduled IME. The IME-4 will provide the results of the IME. The IME report may indicate the examiner's opinion as to permanency and ability to return to work. eCase is a good tool to validate the medical notes your employee provides on an ongoing basis while they're out of work. In many instances, there should be a corresponding medical report from the employee's treating physician that is the basis for the note provided to your office. The doctor's medical report in eCase may prove that the note is valid. In nearly all instances, it would be appropriate to submit the medical notes you receive to the board and to NYSEF. Having the notes in the board's file will allow the case to be adjudicated properly. All medical reports the employer relies on should be in the board file. eCase will assist in determining whether money is owed to the state for wages your agency paid to the employee. The board's administrative law judge will detail the time period and monetary value in the decision. Please note, the request for reimbursement must be in the case folder prior to the first hearing or administrative determination. Reimbursement must be requested before there is a decision directing payment of benefits. To become an authorized user of eCase, proposed administrators must register. This is a simple process that can be done through the board's website. Whoever is identified as the administrator will register first and then grant access to other authorized users. Each agency and facility will identify an administrator to be the primary contact with the board, assist users within their agency with questions about eCase, and grant or remove users access to eCase. Specific instructions for administrators can be found by visiting wcb.ny.gov, selecting the eCase icon on the right-hand side of the screen, and selecting Using eCase. Go to the board homepage at wcb.ny.gov and select the eCase link. After clicking on the icon, select Register for eCase. Select Register for eCase under Registration for Attorneys, Licensed Reps, Insurance Carriers, TPAs, or Self-Insured Employers. Complete the organization information and organization type, then select Continue. Each agency or facility with a department ID number will need to register. For WCB ID, enter NY, then the 5-digit department ID number. This is where your distinctive 5-digit state agency code comes into play, and why it's important to select authorized administrators from your agency. Administrators must be chosen for each agency code. The main office's 5-digit code will have access to all facilities within the agency, and the administrators are only required to enter the main office's code. Enter the user information of the proposed administrator and select Continue. At least one administrator is required, but 2 is recommended. Under Comments, enter the administrator's ny.gov username. The ny.gov username required in the comment box should be the one you use internally for work-related trainings. For example, your username for the statewide learning management system trainings will be the same as what users will enter when logging into eCase. To enter users under the same agency or facility's 5-digit department ID number, select Enter Another User. To enter the registration for the users within the agency or facility, you will need the ny.gov IDs for each user. To provide user information, change the role in the drop-down box to User. See the green arrow on this slide. Provide the user's information, including their ny.gov ID username, in the Comments section. You may also enter additional administrators' information using the same process. Repeat until all users are entered, then select Submit. Modifications to users' information, including the addition or deletion of users, should be done regularly. If the administrator does not have any other users to enter, select Submit Registration. Administrators will receive a confirmation number after registering. If any additional information is required, a board employee will contact you. A draft Memorandum of Understanding agreement regarding the appropriate use of eCase has been sent to most of your agencies. If all eligibility requirements are met during registration, an officer of the agency will be required to sign a legal agreement with the board. Agencies with main offices will only be required to execute one agreement for all facilities. Once your request for eCase has been processed, the board will send an email to each user confirming their user ID and eCase access. Since eCase access is being added to your agency ny.gov ID, no new user ID or password will be necessary. Now we'll go over how to use eCase once you're registered. You must have the following: a desktop or laptop computer, a Java runtime environment, and a valid email account. For any questions regarding Java, please speak with your IT staff, and please note that eCase does not operate on tablets, smartphones, or other similar devices. Go to the board homepage at wcb.ny.gov and select the eCase link. Select the Access eCase button. You may bookmark this page before clicking on Access eCase for future logins. The ny.gov sign-in will appear. Enter your ny.gov ID username and password and select Sign In. Remember, this is the ID that was used to process your registration. Please do not bookmark the ny.gov login page. Due to security reasons, you may experience issues logging in. After logging in, an application pop-up will appear. Select the Run button. An eCase policy pop-up will appear. Read the policy, and if you accept the terms, select Yes. Essentially, the policy is reminding you that the information provided in eCase is confidential, and the user will not be using the contained information inappropriately according to Section 110A of the Workers' Comp Law. Please note, unauthorized use is not permitted and may constitute a crime. Users should only access cases wherein they are parties of interest. We expect that you read and comply with the policy. The policy notes that any disclosure of records is a violation of confidentiality pursuant to Section 110A of the Workers' Comp Law, which you will be trained on via the statewide learning management system, and users may be monitored. eCase will open under its own application. To view the documents of a case, select the Memo Pad button. Enter the Workers' Compensation Board case number in Case ID and select the magnifying glass icon. The Workers' Compensation Board case number may be found on any correspondence provided from the board. The Case Info page will appear. This page provides the claimant's biographical information, the status of the case, whether a hearing is requested, carrier information, and associated case numbers. Users can only see information regarding the specific case entered. The second tab provides the parties of interest associated with the case. Users can see the name, address, and phone number for the claimant, employer, insurer, attorney, medical providers, third-party administrators, and licensed representatives. Navigating to other sections of the case file is as simple as clicking on a tab. The third tab is the case folder, which is the main repository for documents related to a case. The documents can be separated by decisions, items for judge's attention, medical, minutes, and appeals. The documents can also be sorted by form ID, received date, medical provider name, and medical service date. The fourth tab provides data from first report of injuries and second report of injuries sent by the State Insurance Fund. Additional tabs allow users to view latest values, a summary of benefits, and cumulative benefits. The fifth tab provides a summary of the board awards duly filed for the case. The award information includes start date, end date, rate, type, total amount, weeks paid, and date filed. The last tab provides any related materials, which generally includes any records applicable to any of the records related to the claim that do not fit within the categories of the case folder. Before we end today, I want to make sure you're aware that we are in the process of developing a new claims system. In what we're currently referring to as the Business Information System Project, or BIS, the board and our integration partner, CapTech Consulting, are building a new claims system that will replace our multiple legacy paper-based claims systems, such as eCase, with a single web-based platform. With a focus on improving the entire workers' compensation experience for injured workers, the new system will offer exciting elements, including improved and expanded access to real-time claim status, allowing you to check the status of a claim from any device, including your mobile device. Review which e-forms have been submitted and make it clear what the next step in the process is. It will include self-service features for interacting with the board and a reduction in the amount of overall paper forms. Through the new system, electronic forms, or e-forms, will be submitted online and instantly validated to flag any errors or incomplete information that needs to be corrected. These elements will improve system responsiveness and ensure injured workers timely receive the benefits and medical care they are entitled to. The new system is scheduled to be available in early 2022. To stay informed as more information is available, keep an eye on our website, wcb.ny.gov/BIS. For more information about using eCase, visit our website at wcb.ny.gov and type Using eCase in the search bar in the top left-hand corner. You can also type eCase Administrators in the search bar and learn more about administrator responsibilities through eCase. Questions regarding registration can be emailed to the board's customer support unit at wcbcustomersupport@wcb.ny.gov. Please note, the board's customer support unit can only assist with registration and eCase technical support. For claims management-related questions, please email Risk Management Task Force at wcb.ny.gov. For Memorandum of Understanding or legal agreement questions, email Office of General Counsel at wcb.ny.gov. Thank you for watching this presentation on eCase, and please Contact us if you have any questions about this or other New York State Workers' Compensation Board initiatives.